What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and babies of all ages, aces, sizes? Welcome back to some more Sam O. Nello Academy. We're gonna check out deformities you might have. Do you have 3 extra tongues? Does your eyeball see red, green, purple, blue, as well as magenta? And is it possible that your spleen is where your esophagus should be? Find out all the answers to these questions and more as we check out deformities that you might have. You with the face. Yeah, you with the hair. Hey, I like to do your hair with the. You finally got yourself a nice little haircut, huh? I like that stuff right here. You already know the deal. Link in the description down below to Sam O. Nello Academy. Let's get this gravy train rolling.
Hey kids, guess what? You could be a freak of nature and not even know.
Finally! Yeah!
Yep, not every deformity is visible to the untrained eye. Today, we're going to talk about a few physical defects that you, the listener, might have. First is Situs Inversus.
Excuse me?
So Situs Inversus is when a person is born with some or all of their organs mirrored along the vertical axis. This can range from a heart that's on the right instead of the left to the entire body cavity being flipped around. The condition is pretty rare, affecting about 1 in every 10,000 people. According to Wikipedia, plenty of people live their lives with this condition without knowing about it. Considering that even little kids know that their heart is supposed to be on the left, I find this a little hard to believe, but who knows. At any rate, the first doctor visit where you find all this out sure would be interesting.
Right?
Whoa, I think your testicles are on backwards. What? Hold on, maybe I'm just holding.
Wait, what?
Let me just... What the fuck? No, yeah, they're definitely on backwards. I don't follow. It's not that hard a concept. The left one's on the right and the right one's on the left. That's
Wait a minute, but aren't they...
Okay. Does that mean anything? Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to be the guy with the backwards nutsack, but that's just me. What do you mean? Just, you know, kind of weird, isn't it? What is weird about it? How are they different? Can you see it? Can you feel it? Is it dangerous? Look, I'm a doctor, not a cosmetologist, alright? Next is bell clapper deformity. This is a condition that affects 1 out of every 125 males. So in a normal nutsack, the nuts are anchored to the sack in a certain way that limits their mobility. But if you have bell clapper deformity, this anchor isn't present, meaning your nads are free to swing around much more independently than normal. Being that we, as males, don't often compare our scrotal dynamics with other men, most people aren't aware of their deformity, at least not at first. However, having free-floating testes comes with a significantly higher chance of suffering from testicular torsion, which is where your sperm fluid gets all twisted around as a result of rigorous exercise and other mechanical needs. This condition is extremely painful and oftentimes requires a visit to the hospital in order to prevent that from dying from hypoxia. Wait a minute, these aren't on backwards, they're just all twisted up. What? Fix them?
My nuts!
Try harder. Hey, you ever try to untangle a pair of earbuds with a plastic bag? This is like that except sweaty. Cut me some slack, alright? Don't get your balls in it. More of a twist. Next is the accessory spleen. So most of us have at least heard of this spleen. For those of you that don't know a lot about it, basically it's a softball-sized organ right around here that helps out your bloodstream and immune system. But apparently, 1 out of every 10 people have not 1, but 2
spleens!
Sadly, the second spleen isn't another full-sized organ, but rather a little enclosed ball of spleen tissue about the size of a peanut M&M. Since it is self-enclosed, it's technically considered another organ. But because of its small size, it's not all that beneficial to have one or anything. It's just kind of there. Hey, I haven't seen you around before. Are you new on campus?
Campus?
Yeah, I just got here a couple days ago. Well, hey man, welcome to UCLA. If you want, I can wrangle Ron. What is that? It's a good show. Oh, that's Toby. He's my accessory. Do you listen to The Offspring? Is it talking to me? Do you listen to The Offspring? Well, I mean, I used to when I was younger, not so much nowadays. Well, you're gonna go far, kid. I'm gonna go now. Do you think he got the reference?
Nope.
Yeah, Toby, I'm sure he did.
Toby.
Finally, we have fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. The only reason I'm including this one is because of something that happened in health class during my freshman year of high school. Our teacher was telling us all about how you should never drink during pregnancy.
True.
She also said that between 2 and 5% of people in the United States have some form of FASD. Then she goes, looking around the room, I do see a couple people that have the distinguishing facial features.
Excuse me?
Not gonna name names, of course. And then she just continued on with her she didn't just drop a huge bombshell on all of us. So needless to say, this scared the shit out of me. Cause although I consider myself a little bit on the intellectual side, for all I know, I could have been lined up to be the next Einstein, and then my would-be genius brain just got Jaeger-bombed into a mere above average. So as soon as I got home, I pulled up a chart that showed all the distinguishing facial features.
Every time you see something or you think you're sick, and the first thing you do is go to the internet. It's like bumps on my left temple. You got hyper cancer AIDS. Like God. Small head, low nasal bridge. Oh my God. Oh fuck. Flat mid face, smooth temperature, thin upper lip, short nose, small eye openings, low nasal bridge. Huh.
And compared it in the mirror. Thankfully, my philtrum was distinct and my upper lip was plump, so I'm in the clear, as I know now. Statistically speaking, though, there's a good chance that at least a few of the moms of the people watching this video are not the angels that they make themselves out to be. So, you know, food for thought. It really is a curse, though, looking at this chart here, because the features are subtle enough that those who are affected still look normal to the average person. But once you're on the lookout for them, next thing you know, you're on Facebook, your friend posted pictures of her kid, all the comments are like, oh my God, he's
and then you analyze it, and then
little guy, and you're the only person who knows otherwise. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
What the fuck? Salmonella? You just gonna leave us like that? Oh yeah, just normal average day. Oh, you got hyper alcohol AIDS-itis. God, son of a. This one is known as Tarrare, Tuhaha, the hungriest man in history. Now, I mean, I've gone a couple of years without some good old-fashioned food myself, but I mean, the hungriest man in history today would probably be like in an eating contest. Dude would be an absolute champ. It's about to be a breeze.
Hey kids, I think we can all agree that there are few pastimes more grotesque than competitive eating. The concept of a bunch of guys pushing their anatomy to its limits just for sport leaves a bad taste in my mouth in more ways than one. But imagine if these men didn't adopt this habit just for fun. Imagine if some gross biological error forced them to eat like this for their entire life. Introducing Tarrare. Tarrare was born in France around 1772 to a poor farming family. It's said that his appetite was so voracious that, by his teens, Tarrare could eat an entire quarter of a cow carcass in a single day. You'd think he'd be like mega obese, but no, he only weighed 100 pounds by age 17. However, there were still a few things that stood out about Tarrare appearance-wise. For one, he had a huge, stretched-out mouth with horribly stained teeth. He could reportedly fit 12 eggs in his cheeks at once, much like a chipmunk keeping its chipmunk eggs warm. Additionally, when Tarrare was full, he'd get a crazy octomom gut going, and any other time, he'd have a huge flap of stretched-out skin hanging around his waist. He also stank to high hell, even by 18th century French peasant standards. He was described as reeking, quote, to such a degree that he could not be endured within the distance of 20 paces. So between all this and his horrendous outhouse flooding dumps, his family had had enough. Alright, you're eating us out of house and home here. You gotta go, man. You heard me. Kick bricks, Froggy. Wow, he just called a French person a frog. That's so racist. No, it's not. They're all French. The guy just looks like a frog is all. Oh. Well, too late. I'm already offended. That's fair. Dislike. After leaving home, Tarrare was forced to beg and steal just to satisfy his
he ate a dog!
Appetite. Inevitably, people began to take notice of him, and eventually he landed a job as a street performer in Paris. People would hand Tarrare entire baskets of apples, eggs, and even wine corks, and watch in delight as he corked them down without the slightest hesitation. Normally, this went off without a hitch, except for one time when he suffered a severe intestinal blockage.
Really?
Fortunately, the crowd was kind enough to carry him to the hospital, where he was treated with the strongest laxatives the 18th century had to offer. I would draw what happened next, but it would probably get my channel deleted. So let's just picture it for a few moments.
No, I don't want to picture it.
Cut to the year 1792. This marks the beginning of the War of the First Coalition. Ever heard of it? Me neither. Who was in it? Fucking Anyway, Tarrare decided to enlist in the war. After all, maybe that profound emptiness he was feeling was just a lack of purpose in life. Turns out, no, he really was just psychotically
Oh,
hungry.
okay,
Even
well.
after being granted quadruple rations, Tarrare would still be digging through the trash pile whenever he got the
Oh,
chance.
God, man.
After suffering extreme exhaustion, he was sent off to the military hospital in Situs. The staff there was so dumbfounded by the man's abilities that they decided to keep him there to run a few experiments. The first of which involved putting Tarrare in a room with a meal prepared for 15 people. Naturally, he ate the entire thing and immediately fell asleep. Next, they presented...
Look, I ain't no Tarrare, but I mean, if you got a 4-course meal for 15 people, eventually I eat it all, but I mean, I'm hungry now.
Raw eel. In response, Tarrare crushed the eel's skull between his teeth before slurping down the entire creature in one go. Now, this is hair-clenchingly horrifying for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Firstly, he put a whole frickin' eel in his stomach, but secondly, there had to be some point during digestion where the meat was gone but the bones still remained. Now, for those of you who don't know, an eel skeleton looks like this. That means Tarrare had all of those needle-sized ribs stabbing into the walls of his stomach at once, and he was fine.
Ooh.
He also ripped a live cat apart with his bare hands, drank its blood, and ate everything but its bones, and then later gagged up the fur and skin like an owl. But...
Okay, alright, cool. Listen, my boy, Tarrare, you did what?
There. After reviewing our data, I've come to the scientific conclusion that, yeah, we got a goddamn demon on our hands. But as we all know, with great devour comes great responsibility. Since Tarrare was still technically enlisted, the military decided to utilize his abilities for the greater good. Hey Tarrare, it's me, the General. Listen, could you eat this box with a note in it for me? If you do it, we'll give you a wheelbarrow full of bull organs. Lo and behold, 2 days later, he passed the container in mint condition and was given his reward as promised. With this proof of concept, they made him an official spy and sent him into Prussia with a document in his bag
Wait a minute,
to be delivered to an imprisoned French colonel. Unfortunately, there are a couple things Tarrare couldn't do that are generally important when sneaking into another country. A, he couldn't speak German, and B, it's pretty hard to maintain a low profile when you're running around like a madman, wolfing down garbage and mutilating small animals. So he ended up being captured by the enemy. Initially, he kept his mouth shut, for once, but after a whipping and a day in jail, Tarrare gave in. After confessing that he did, in fact, have vital intelligence snaking its way through his GI tract, the Prussians chained him to a latrine until the box emerged 30 hours later. The note wasn't actually anything important.
They're the Prussia and the Russia? Please clarify. Love the French.
Anything important, so they just mock executed him, gave him a severe beating, and sent him on his way. After all that, Tarrare returned to life at the hospital, desperate for a cure for his condition, but nothing they ever tried worked.
Tobacco pills? No. Opium tincture, whatever the fudge that is. Vinegar? Maybe. Juice cleanse? Possibly. Tell him to just quit being a fat ass. Throat cork? Working. Give up and start a business? Make it IRL vor. What is vor? Is this one of those things that I shouldn't look up, but I'm morbidly curious?
Do it!
Yeah. I'm doing it. I'm gonna look up whatever that is.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Ah! Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Why the oh God, it actually makes sense now that
While the man's endless hunger continued to get him into all sorts of trouble. He'd often sneak out of the hospital to eat the scraps behind the local butcher and fight stray dogs in the alley for their precious garbage. He'd also seek out patients undergoing bloodletting in order to take all their life juice for himself.
What the hell? What kind
On
of
several
vampire?
occasions,
Oh
he was
my
even
God,
caught attempting to eat bodies in the mortuary. By this point in my research, I was so desensitized to this guy that I didn't even bat an eye when I first read that. I was just like, alright, guess he must have been hungry.
This dude's eating entire bodies out there though! This dude's got vampire drinking blood and eating corpses, my guy? I know they didn't have a Chick-fil-A back in the day, but I promise you went to Chick-fil-A back in the day, you'd be straight.
Hospital staff begrudgingly tolerated Tarrare's buffoonery until one day when he went too far.
far.
Well, Tarrare, you've only had 3 mess hall raids, 4 miscellaneous trash-related mishaps, and 1 cadaver defiling.
Cadaver
so I'd say,
defiling.
so far, this week's been pretty good. Doctor, we should probably inform you that a 14-month-old child has gone missing from their room. Tarrare, look at me. Did you eat a fucking baby?
Nah. No. He didn't do it. No. He's motherfucking Billy from that Meat Canyon animation. Ate a motherfucking baby. Oh my god. You ate a baby. Why is it the second time I've heard about this? Eating a baby. A 4-month-old baby? How? Why would you eat a baby? They killed him, right? Listen, they better have killed him. Listen.
Kicked out of the hospital and spent 4 years out and about.
They didn't kill him?
Whatever horrific shit you can imagine. When he came back, he was suffering from advanced tuberculosis and died shortly after arrival. During his autopsy, the surgeons found that when they looked into his mouth, they could see all the way down his throat and into his stomach cavity. As you can imagine, his whole abdominal region was profoundly deformed. Basically, if this is a normal human, this is what they found inside Tarrare. Just like the man's mind, we can see that around 90% is devoted towards food and 10% towards everything else. So, moral of the story here is that, no, you know what, not even I can find anything resembling a moral here. Not all stories have a point to them. Sometimes they're just sad and disgusting from beginning to end. And now a word from our sponsor.
Wow. Mother effing Tarrare out this mug. Why? Someone else on 8 babies? God, Jesus. Why babies? You start eating cadavers and animals and cats, that's bad enough, but you start eating babies, you just got to die. But that's gonna do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Salmonella Academy, teaching us that good knowledge juice that we can't find even in normal colleges. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, or just take your big small claw out of the awesomeness juice and slash that like button. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in peace of all ages, shapes, and sizes, love, peace, ooh, oh yeah, and above all, stay peaceful for the epic win of all the wins. And let me make this one promise. No matter how hungry you get, please, for the love of all that is decent in the human race, don't eat babies. Okay, bye.